You know what, guys? We're just going to say it. Wingers in football aren't the same anymore. Back in the day, having a tricky player out wide was absolutely essential. You'd give them the ball, and they'd light up the game with dazzling moves, slicing through defenders and creating magic out of nothing. But now, wingers are starting to feel more like robots, and honestly, we're blaming Pep Guardiola for that. These days, they're told to hug the touchline, keep possession, and recycle the ball back to the midfield. It's becoming so rare to see a player who takes the game into their own hands and delivers that spark of magic. Be honest, how many players can you name off the top of your head who still do that? Other than Lamine Yamal, exactly, it's tough. But here's the thing, we think we found the player who might just bring that magic back. His name, Rio Ngumoha. Now, don't get us wrong, we're not overhyping him just because he made his senior debut for the Reds at 16 years old. Instead, we took a deep dive into his performance in the FA Cup match against Accrington Stanley. And trust us, what we saw deserves a closer look. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, and let's jump straight into the video. So let's kick things off with something we love to break down here at Panenka, off-ball movement. When a player is constantly on the move without the ball, making himself available for a pass, or creating space for his teammates by pulling defenders out of position, it's a clear sign of hunger and tactical intelligence. This is exactly why we're always praising Dominik Szoboszlai, even on days when he doesn't light it up with the ball at his feet. Off-ball movement is such a valuable trait, and it's something that only gets better with time and experience. Now, to be clear, we're not saying that Rio Ngumoha is some off-ball movement master just yet. That'd be a bit of a stretch after only watching him for about 70 minutes. But in his debut, he already showed flashes of the kind of intelligence needed to excel in this area. So let's dive into exactly what happened. Early in the game, Accrington pressed our backline with a man-to-man approach. To their credit, it worked at times and left us struggling for passing options. But in this particular moment, a simple movement from Rio almost unlocked their defense and created a chance for us. You can see Rio here dropping deep into the left back position. By doing this, he pulls Accrington's right back all the way up the pitch. And, of course, when that happens, it naturally leaves space in behind for us to exploit, and that's exactly what we did. You can see Dominik Szoboszlai, who's absolutely brilliant at spotting and attacking vacant spaces, recognize the opportunity created by Ngumoha's movement. He darts into the open area and receives the pass from Tsimikas, perfectly capitalizing on the gap Rio helped create. But that's not all. In the first sequence, we saw how Ngumoha created space with his movement. But what about making himself available for a pass? Take a look at this moment. You can see him starting the play by holding the width on the left. Now, most wingers in this situation would stick to their position, waiting to receive the ball out wide before trying to dribble past their marker. But let's be honest, that's not exactly ideal, is it? You're boxed in with a defender in front of you and the touchline at your back. Ngumoha, however, takes a smarter approach. Instead of staying wide, he identifies the vacant space centrally and makes a move to occupy it. From there, he's able to pick up the ball and drive forward with a diagonal run. Even when his path is eventually blocked, he keeps his composure, turning back and finding a passing option instead of being forced out by the touchline. Think we're done? Not even close. Check out this moment where Rio pulls off a clever bit of movement by faking a run in behind. Now, you might be thinking, what's the point of a fake run if he's not actually going to follow through? Well, here's the answer. By faking the run, Rio manages to trick Accrington's right back into holding his position. This little maneuver creates just enough separation between Rio and his marker, allowing him to drop deeper and receive the ball in a much more comfortable spot. From there, he has all the angles and passing routes open to him, giving him the freedom to drive forward and make something happen. At just 16 years old, Ngumoha already understands the importance of constantly moving off the ball, not just to create space for his teammates, but also for himself. It's something we often don't even see from senior players who sometimes stroll around the pitch, avoiding involvement unless they can receive the ball in their favourite positions. But Rio, he's different, and for someone so young, this level of awareness is an unbelievable trait to have, one that will only get better as he continues to develop. Now, we get it. Some of you might not find off-ball actions as exciting as when a player is actually on the ball. So let's move on to the fun part and talk about what makes Ngumoha's dribbling so special. We all know it's called football for a reason. It's a game played with your feet, obviously. But here's the thing. Some players forget that your arms are also part of the game, as long as you're not using them to shove someone or, throw a punch. When dribbling, a player can use their arms to defend themselves and shield the ball effectively. And from what we've seen, Rio seems to understand this perfectly. perfectly. Whenever a defender tries to close in on Rio, the 16-year-old instinctively uses his arm to shield both himself and the ball. This little detail might seem minor, but it's crucial. It gives him those extra seconds and millimeters he needs to manipulate the ball and escape the pressure. For such a young player to already understand how to use his body and limbs to retain possession is an incredibly positive sign. And with time, as he continues to grow and develop physically, which we're certain he still has plenty of room for, Rio has the potential to become one of the most press-resistant wingers in the world. Now, don't get us wrong, we're not hyping him up just because he uses his arm here and there to fend off defenders. We're saying this because Rio has incredible ball manipulation skills, even under pressure, and that's what truly sets him apart. There's one sequence in particular that really shows the range of skills he can use to evade the press. First, take a look at this moment. You can see Rio perform a sudden leg flick, making it look like he's about to attack the ball and drive in the opposite direction. This clever fake forces the defender to stop his run. He doesn't want to overcommit and let Rio use his momentum against him. But here's the twist. Rio doesn't follow through with the run. Instead, with the defender hesitating, he's able to create just enough separation to take control of the situation. A second later, when the defender decides to engage again, Rio steps up once more. Not only does he use his arm, as we mentioned earlier, but he also rolls the ball back, keeping it out of the defender's reach. This simple yet effective move buys him more time and keeps the ball under control. And to top it all off, Rio's final move is a masterclass in deception. He uses his legs to sell a brilliant fake. By planting one foot on the ground, he makes it look like he's about to cut to the left. But instead, with a quick adjustment in posture, he drives in the opposite direction, completely escaping the pressure. And finally, we can't overlook Rio's eagerness to take on opponents. He's fearless, he doesn't shy away from his markers, and if you give him even the tiniest gap to squeeze through, you can bet he'll find a way. In fact, it was this fearless attitude and his determination to take on defenders that directly led to our second goal of the game. Here you can see Rio on the edge of the area, faced with two players in front of him, but instead of hesitating, he confidently decides to drive straight at them with the ball. What makes this moment even better is how he uses his teammates' overlapping run to his advantage. By feinting as if he's about to play the pass, Rio creates just enough separation before cutting to his right to take the shot. And yes, that deflected shot is what led to our second goal of the game. In just this one appearance, Ngumoha gave us a glimpse of why he might be the next big thing in football, at least when it comes to wingers. At a time when so many wide players are playing it safe, sticking to their positions, and preferring to recycle possession rather than taking on their markers, Rio is breaking the mold. He's showing incredible courage, creativity, and boldness, all at just 16 years of age. Now, some might think we're overhyping him after a performance where he didn't score or assist, but what those people might not realize is the level of composure and tactical awareness Rio displayed throughout the game. Sure, Lamine Yamal has already had his breakthrough for both club and country at a similar age, but moments like that are rare. And let's not forget, the Spanish league, as technical as it is, simply doesn't compare to the physicality and relentless intensity of the Premier League. To fully realize his massive potential, Ngumoha still has a lot to learn and, more importantly, plenty of physical development ahead of him. But one thing is for sure, if he stays fit and continues to develop properly, he'll become an incredible player, one who will undoubtedly bring back the magic that wide players have been missing in recent years. So what did you think of Rio's performance in this game? Do you think he deserves more minutes in the next cup round? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more content like this.